I was the first one here, even in the parking lot. 8:30.
Wow. I can't either, that's impressive.
I thought I was,
Debbie said.
I thought I was early.
Okay, so now it's streaming, yes. We don't, in case you're live now.
I'm not early.
Just remember you're being watched.
Okay, are we?
No, we don't need to be live yet, we're a few minutes early, but just know that you're being broadcast to everybody for your conversations and everything.
Okay.
I'm
How
not
about we
ready.
just come back up here?
You what?
Move over here. Just put the computer, how do I make that go back on?
I'm gonna do it right
You
here.
have it up there, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, put it back in and see what it says.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That's nice.
Oh, there you go. Follow up spell, plug it back in.
That's right.
Okay,
Reboot.
plug it back in.
I know that Shane is gonna be on the phone, so.
Yes, Jane is gonna be on the phone.
And Gay will be here.
Gay will be here. Thank you. Chamberlain said he was gonna be here.
Is that the sitting
I'm gonna sit there for Gay.
Yeah, said he would be here.
Perfect.
Yep. And, oh, here's Gay. She's a few minutes late.
That's
Gay
okay.
said she's coming, she's a few minutes late.
We can go over some stuff. Hey. Hi, Dee. Hi, how are you? Good. Drove past your house last night. On the way up the mountain. Your truck was in the driveway. Oh, really? Wasn't late, it was about 5:30. No, I had to get up here. How are you, Dave? Good.
Leo's coming, I know.
Okay, well,
As far as I know. So we'll just give them a few minutes. We've got another 5 minutes.
Is this gonna be a nice short one today? Can we be
I'll
12
let you.
minutes?
We do
Huh?
have two agenda items, but they're pretty, Shane wanted to talk about the VCD and then.
Yeah.
I'm ready. And then with new business, we
Yeah.
can talk about.
Hey, Mr. Chamberlain, how are you?
After this.
Hey.
We'll have, we're talking about the SCADA system and the status of the meters that they're putting on the cabins.
Yeah, so they can do that in that
I'll go
update.
on the business,
Yeah. Okay.
Did you
How are
enjoy
you?
the time off like we have?
What was that?
Enjoy the time off all week like we have?
Sure.
The snow melted over your way?
What snow?
I know. Pretty scary.
You have to have snow to have it melt.
What is it like up there? Any snow?
Dry.
Dry?
No, you take it.
There's
I
somewhere
like
in
these
my
little ones.
This week I went.
No, I like these little ones. I do.
It was.
Those other ones
Dry.
are too big and
You
might
straight
not
back
be
home?
back for me.
Fires.
No, I gotta go up on the mountain. I haven't. So,
My little grandkids for a couple of days while I'm home, sometimes I have important, I just start coming in there. See them and they can read. So I get a text message about it. Once I turn it off, probably, my best friend, so I've either got to put
Oh, really? It is?
it's separate phone for all my private work business, so.
which one? 4 or 5? I just want.
You what?
Why, you got trouble?
No.
Personal.
No, I always worry about fusions.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're, doctors out this way.
2,500 pictures of
It's a good thing. I mean, in Vegas, they want to
But
use
I'm not.
a minimum of 2,
in there,
and they'll
but
roll 3.
I didn't.
The trial we just got out of,
My text messages.
guy had, L3 to S1 fuse, and I don't know why you do something like that. Huh?
Look at that.
Anyway, the one the trial, the 3-jury trial I just got out of, he was asked on,
Well, you know,
7.2 million.
yeah, it's interesting, but I got to watch the operation on her back robotically. The doctor had him on a scan and I was watching him do it.
It's robotic?
Yeah, it's cool to see you ever seen. They take the little Dremel, you know, you'll have a little.
Yeah, big stone.
Big one. It's got a thing like the gas that sucks out the sound, and it goes.
Put Shane on the line.
Done. Put the hardware in. They put it on the freaking torque wrench.
by you.
Now, I don't always hear that the fusions are 100%, wow, it's great, knee replacement, I always hear that.
Yeah, I don't think there's much of
It's a tough deal.
It is,
No,
I
it's-
can hear it
no,
every
it's-
time you
it's
touch
tough.
it, can you hear it?
It's tough, but this
You hear that
was
much?
15,
Yeah.
20 years ago, I had a guy who was a runner.
Oh, my house is gonna be,
I remember he was an attorney, he was a he was
I
terrible.
wonder if it's going to be,
This is 20 years ago. He did.
Yeah, YouTube's already up and going, so you're live on.
There's nobody on it, so you're good.
He was so good at practice running. That's how it was with knee replacements. Like brand new.
You didn't hear from Rich Corolla, did you?
Again, you didn't have the number, but.
I wish. Great. Hey, Shane.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good.
Good.
How's everybody?
Everybody's doing pretty well, as far as I know. Upright and breathing. We're just waiting for Gay for a minute.
Okay. No worries, I just have me on mute so you don't hear all the
Yes.
commotion in the background.
That's great. Yeah, Shane's there.
You can start if you want,
Yeah.
pick up on Shane.
We're gonna start, Shane, you're the fourth person, we're just gonna get going. Okay,
Sounds good.
first on the agenda is call meeting to order. Review and approve March 28, 2025 minutes. Any deletions, additions, or changes that might need to be made to those minutes, if anybody see? If not, we have a motion? Approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
Approve the minutes.
then moved. Second?
I can second it, I wasn't there though, so I don't know if I.
Yeah,
Well, sorry, I wasn't either, so.
We got it, it's seconded, we're good.
Okay, alright.
Okay. Moving on,
All in favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. David, business, review and approve bills paid since last approval, and remove the other forms.
Okay, that's the list in front of you.
Okay.
Well, wait 1 second, what just happened? Hang on.
The most significant item is down towards the end of the list.
Just scroll it down there.
You'll see a payment of $133,979.27. That's the first loan payment on that smaller loan, on the smaller project.
Okay, the first one.
Had enough money to make that payment.
Good.
And everything else is, I don't think there's anything out of the ordinary on the rest of it. We spent quite a bit for propane for heating the shop this winter, but I think that's going to turn around
Wood stove boys.
with the wood stove and everything.
It's installed, it's hot. Good.
That's what we like to hear.
It's hard to get away from it after plowing snow for 5-6 hours.
You wanna camp out by it, huh? Good.
I don't think there's anything else that I would point out unless someone has a question on an item or.
Okay. The funds transfer on, what was it? 598414, is that the end of the?
Yeah, we have a savings account with PTIF,
Right.
and we just transfer money as we need it.
Okay.
That was needed to pay the loan payment.
Good. I thought so. All right.
can I say something?
Sure.
Those assessments, Dave and I got together and we sent out the, notice for the second year's payment. It's due on May 1st. We're down to just a group of about 4 or 5 that haven't paid yet on their assessment, so
That's all?
if they don't make the payment this May, we sent them a special letter telling them, you know, we're gonna go through with maybe the foreclosure provisions if we have to.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, we started out with almost half that weren't paying.
Yeah.
We've been collecting this whole year, so we're down to just a few that.
How many,
haven't paid.
approximately how many are there? How many?
About 60.
62 or 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got 2, issues that we're gonna have to resolve at some point. One guy there are 2 people that had 2 lots that the county combined into 1 lot.
Right.
And so they're trying to get out of
Half of
having
it.
to pay. It's a problem for us, cause we took the whole deal and divided it by the 63, and that's how we came up with the assessment. So then if we cut somebody out, we have to come up with the money some other way. And so, we're just gonna see how the project ends, see if there's any money left over from the bond that we can transfer into the payment account, and then we'll ask you to make a decision at some point.
Yeah.
But
You say you got 2 people who've joined lots?
yes,
Or are they down at the bottom, obviously?
well, one's down at the bottom and one's up at the top. We had 2 lots, one was not even in the assessment area, and the other one was, and so now he's combined and saying, well, I
Yeah.
have access to my other lot.
So you're gonna follow up before May 1st, or you already sent stuff to them?
Well, I've already, I've been in touch with them and told them we're looking at it, and I asked the one guy that's down at the bottom, I said, well, at least pay on your 1 lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so he has been paying on 1 lot,
Okay.
so we're just gonna have to see how that works out.
Is it a blanket assessment, or is it, I mean, does everybody pay the same for the lot?
Yeah, everyone's paying.
How much is it?
Well, it's, the total amount was about 29,000, was it 26?
It was 26.
26,000, and then it's divided in amortization to pay it off in 15 years.
15 years, okay.
So the payment's about 2,500, I think,
A
each
year?
year.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a lot more in control than I thought it was.
Yeah, we work with people, we have a couple that are making like monthly payments.
It's all right. Okay, good. Where were we?
Well, the list that you're seeing now is the aging schedule on the accounts receivable for the water usage and road assessment.
Okay.
And since we sent the billing out the 1st of April, the list is quite large.
Yeah.
And so you'll see down at the bottom, the total is,
Down at the bottom.
there's about 5 pages.
Holy crap.
You passed it.
Jeez.
There's 171,000.
You kidding me? Have we ever had that big of an issue before?
Yeah,
Okay.
it happens every quarter.
Oh, good.
Really?
Good thing I didn't know I'd been.
By the end of the quarter, it gets down to around 40,000.
Okay.
There are just some people that refuse to pay.
Let's start charging triple late fees,
Well, don't we have, if they don't pay, we have options, don't we, at a certain point?
Yes, we file a lien with the county treasurer.
We add it to the tax bill in the
Right.
fall.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that happened to a few people last year. They went down to pay their taxes and they found out they had to pay that. Oh,
Let's
maybe.
see, there should be another page up above this one, Brady. That shows,
All the way up?
yeah, all the way up. There you go, that one, right there.
Okay.
This just shows the bills I have on hand that haven't been paid yet, and the balances we have in various accounts. And, of course, we need need approval on the checks that have been written since our last meeting and on these, accounts payable.
Okay.
$713,000 in special assessment after we made the payment.
Yeah,
Okay, so I hope for next year too then.
yeah, we're about a year ahead on both ones as far as money that we have on hand.
That's a good thing.
Dave, what did you say you needed a motion on specifically?
Need a motion on the bills that have been paid since our last meeting, checks written since our last meeting, and, the accounts payable that need to be paid yet.
I'll make a motion to approve the financials as presented by Dave, as well as, if you're asking for an additional.
No.
Yes, no, so that's the motion.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second that.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 I said aye. I don't have a hearing aid, sorry. Okay, good. Overview of current operations. Brandon Brady Durbridge. Oh, it's Brandon. Yeah,
Well,
Brandon.
Jeff, yeah, for that, or do you wanna do your select Malloy stuff first?
Yeah, let's do.
Okay.
Can we just do that? Doesn't matter?
You went down a little ways. So next was your grant, your projects, and your select Malloy.
Oh, okay.
So,
I didn't go down.
yeah, you did ahead.
Anyway,
I'm a rookie, my bad. I wasn't trained on this.
I'll never admit a mistake, no. Anyway, so, okay, yeah. The Celeste Malloy federal funding culinary water and spring development thing came up again, and I've been talking to these guys, the last, I guess 10 or 12 days. And, there's two options here, and I think we're gonna have to go with the second option. The water project, the spring improvement, the Forest Service spring, and did have the asphalt paving on it too. It was $10 million. But the other portion is $4 million. The issue is, we have to come up with a match of $800,000, 20%. And I'm looking at this and thinking that's probably impossible. However, we can table it this year and go for next year. And that would be a better option for us in one regard. This money has to be spent within 12 months. And with our building season up there the way that it is, we couldn't be ready for it now. No way. If we got it by next year, we could probably start a lot of this stuff in August, okay, of next year before the snow comes, and then finish it before August of next year. So I think, and he just sent me a thing, his name's Levitt, and he said, I just need to know, the only thing you need to know is if you can come up with the matching funds right now. I'm just gonna tell him, no, we can't. I think that's the logical thing to do. And they asked if it could be scaled back. And in speaking with Brandon today, there's several places up there that can be scaled back because they were already brand new pumps. Changers and Aspen Crest and a couple more up by the pumps.
Yep.
And there's a bunch of stuff. Because what it would do, it would replace all of the existing old pipe. Now, Brandon and Brady know where there's some existing new pipe, where they still think there's some old pipe. So it would give us a chance to go in and scale it back if we can, to a point where we might be able to afford it. So I wanted to just get everybody's opinion, because I want to, I would make a motion to have everybody ratify that change rather than have this take, it's hitting us too fast now. And it wasn't supposed to fund until 26 before, but now they wanted to do it right now. So, do we need a motion to do that? Or just,
Does Brandon actually think he has the time to go make those identifications with all the other things that have to happen?
they've pretty much made those identifications.
You've already,
Yeah.
You've had 3 years to figure it out, so.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
All our
So, either that, or if you guys would just want me to go ahead and make the decision, ratify it, for me to do that, I'll do that. But I think that's been, I didn't wanna do it, the guy called me and said, when are you gonna know? I said, I'll know tomorrow, he's gonna meet him.
Yeah, I'm in agreement.
I think that's a much better way, so we can step back from it, because, in my opinion, there's some things in there, of course, and I can't blame Sunrise, because they're looking at the whole project. They're trying to make sure they cover their bases, but I think we can scale it back. I think we get another $1 million out of it, roughly. Okay?
That's good, and then that gives us more time to, when you go to get the letters, they don't,
Yeah.
they want this much time
Well,
before.
and we don't wanna surprise them, we don't wanna we don't wanna take the fees up anymore we have to, but if we get that done, there's nothing else that's old. So there are some advantages. And Dave and I have talked a couple of times, there's a couple of places down in the village that probably need some serious looking at, right, Brady? A couple of places down in the village.
Yeah.
But if we have a little bit, I would feel better if we have a little bit of change and we could do a couple of those little places, you know, like we talked about, and not be in such a financial bind on it. Okay?
Yeah, I agree with you, Pete. I think it kind of came on us a little sooner than any of us expected anyway.
Yeah.
And we were just, I think, happy that we got so far.
Yeah.
But there is a huge amount of, like, planning, even just a whole drainage, we need a whole drainage plan for the entire condo village.
We've talked
It's not a
about,
lot of money, but it requires a lot of thought and just tinkering.
Yeah.
And then even tree removal, there's a ton of tree removal to do before that. I mean, we want the money before we do it, but even just kind of like planning and agreeing on all that, yeah, there's a lot to do.
well, and I
We
think,
still haven't finished, we need to finish our first big project anyway, which is probably the biggest priority,
Sure.
get that second spring going.
yeah, and Brady, Brandon and I talked about this a couple of days ago, and he expressed the same thing you did. If we have a little bit of money, he said the first thing we should do is get the drainage thing taken care of. You know, when we chip away at a couple of things like that, it'd behoove us to do that because it's a mess up there, as we all know. So I think, that Brandon was gonna look into, getting what we need, and also, I don't know, I guess we should have it engineered, but I don't know if we have the wherewithal to do it, but do you think you guys can know where the problems are and what you can do?
A lot of them, yeah.
Okay, so, if we can do.
I think what we need, if it would behoove us as a community, as a service district, to do is what we actually know more than the engineers.
That's right.
About like how things drain out, and so we can actually come up with a concept plan that will be a workable plan that they can then bless and engineer.
I agree.
And it won't cost us anything, it'll just be Brandon's time and my time and, my guys and anyone
Yeah.
else, like, the master water, Lance Wood.
Okay, yeah, and that's what I'm trying to do, is avoid some of that expense, because I don't think it's necessary. And in my job, a lot of times, the engineers consume most of the contract, and there's nothing left for the guys that really need it. So, I'm with you.
Right.
Okay.
Well, the thing we need to do is, we need to keep a careful record
Mhm.
of time and money spent on those kinds of things so that we can build up that matching requirement.
Yeah,
Can that count as matching?
yes, it can.
Great point.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
start
good.
a master spreadsheet that
Okay.
we can all use, and it'll be digital, I'll start that.
That'll be great.
Cause like even Shane's guys, they do.
Well, they work with
They count that as
these-
matching?
They work with these guys quite a bit. No.
It has to be.
Yeah, it's a district, but still, there's just some things that, like we're saying, that no matter what you do, they see it on paper and they try to make everything perfect, but it's the hands-on guys that know where it's at and where the problems are, so I wanna proceed that way, if we can, Dave. See what we've got, we'll get some estimates going, get something on it. And especially now, while the guys have got some time, okay.
So Brady, it'd probably be smart for you guys to start kind of keeping a log of where you're spending
What we're
your time,
doing.
cause then they can use that for the matching funds, so
Yeah.
kind of track a little bit when you're doing stuff that goes through it. That's a good idea, Dave.
And while I'm talking, two other things we need to address right shortly. We have to address the meters and the SCADA guys getting in after that spring. Get all that stuff taken care of. The weather's changed and there's no reason we can't get going on that. But Brady told me there's some issues with the meters and with the notification. We have to have notification from every homeowner to be able to enter their home to put the meters in. So we'll have to make a letter of some sort. Can you make something up like that, Leo?
Dee, on those meters, I I'm sorry, I got my hearing aids in and I got it cranked up so I can hear. I put in where I put my connection in, I put that tube in that actually lifts up, and I did that because then you could put a meter in. Are you saying that there's gonna be a different type of meter? Is it gonna be in the house or what?
Yeah, so we'll come into the house, and it goes, so that's your meter pit
That you built.
that you built, and then your water runs into your house and we're putting them inside the house because the weather
Just the meter.
eats them up. It's just a little meter like this, and all we do is strap it to your pipe.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
then, but we have to come in and see what size your pipe is, what kind of copper it is, if it's PEX, if it's whatever. You have to order that specific meter, and then we got a program we have to punch it all into. It says, this is your house, this is your pipe size.
Isn't that kind of like the old, there's some places up there that have meters, that's kind of the way that is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
But they're just inline, so the water's actually running through those meters.
Right.
This one, it just goes off the
Perfect.
vibration.
all right, thank you.
Okay.
What kind of electronics is it, is battery operated?
It's battery operated, 3-year battery life on all of them, so I mean, eventually we're gonna have to
replace batteries.
change some batteries.
Change the battery.
But hard wiring's not a good thing.
No.
And then they'll handle all the things on the computer for the collection of it.
And everything, Brandon comes back next time, we'll have him
Yeah.
be able to pull it up. so
I
you guys
just
can see how
wanted to
it
make
works.
sure, we missed a lot of meetings, there's a lot of things going through my mind that we really need to take and get after a little bit. That's about all I have.
Will those meters tell you if there's a constant flow through them?
Yes.
So you can notify them if they have a leak or something?
Yep, yeah, we know how much water everybody uses, and then we can see a constant flow, like, holy crap, they only use this much, this many gallons this month, and now they use 5,000, what's going on?
And that's why we gotta get this other infrastructure in, the SCADA and all the things that'll make this report.
That's happening this summer.
This, yeah, it's supposed to finish last fall, but we.
And that SCADA guy, I'll have Brandon call him Monday to do it, so. Thought he was gonna come up over the winter, but he doesn't really like the snowmobile, so.
But anyway,
While we're on this topic, I contacted Devin to, talk to him about an impact fee, because of our new project, the people that are, they sign in, you know,
Moving in.
this year or next year, they will miss a couple of payments on the project.
Mhm.
So I thought, well, we could have an impact fee that
for the new ones,
for a new person who's
Sure.
getting into it. So I asked Devin about it, and he said, oh yeah, we can look into that and the other aspects of the impact fee, it'll probably cost $20,000 to $30,000.
well, it's better the new people pay it than the rest of us, right?
Right, but the impact fee for buying in, it's not gonna
Yeah.
justify, I don't think, the $20,000 to $30,000.
Trying to help them guys over at Sunrise retire early.
Well, I got a point on that. I mean, I have 2 properties and I've been paying for the water fee and everything, and, you know,
Well,
then you got these.
that would be subject to an impact, fee. This is only if a new subdivision is created, like next year, they wouldn't have paid for 2 years on the
Yeah.
project, which is built into their basic fees every year. And I was just thinking, we could analyze that and at least have an impact fee to catch up on what their share would have been.
Yeah, rather than starting from behind the 8 ball.
And maybe I could do something on that we could just approve, you know, sort of
Okay.
a little study without paying 20 or 30,000, but, cause, you know, what are they paying, like 100 and something a quarter towards the 4 million project? 115, and so,
Yeah.
I don't know that this justifies 20 to 30,000, and then we have an impact fee of, you know,
It's a tariff.
3,000 to 4,000 just to pay for the study, right?
Sorry.
I love
Couldn't
tariffs.
resist it.
Anyway, we'll think about that, I'll throw it
Okay.
later.
Yeah. But we won't make a motion today, right?
No.
Okay.
Shane, the project rehabilitation.
Yeah, Shane, did you wanna talk about the grass seed mix? Shane?
I do,
Okay, go
yeah.
ahead.
So this is just, we've talked about this a few times, which it just hasn't gotten implemented yet, which is in the project, for the main water line, there's a rehabilitation component to it that hasn't been done. What that means is basically after they, start up, you know, the whole line, they just basically should plant some seed, some kind of seed
Sure.
year after. And I think we've talked about this, I think we all agree with this project, but the state of the
So-
snow melt off,
so
so
you're-
I wanted to get a jump on that.
Yeah, so what you're talking about is where the things ran all down through your ski resort and all that stuff, get that reseeded?
Yeah, from the water, basically from the water tank down to
Mhm.
the spring.
Mm-hmm,
That
yeah.
whole area is like, just,
What do we need to do,
Rehabilitation.
we have to get, Brandon to find out a cost for the seed and what it would take to do it?
Just from someone who does a lot of rehabilitation work,
Okay,
it's always best to see when you first disturb the ground, you have all the pores and your grass seed gets in, you have a much more effective. Waiting a year or two later, you get to develop crust and stuff, and then you gotta go back and re-disturb that to get your seed worked in. And if you can do it, if you know you're gonna postpone your seeding, it's better to do it in the fall and let the snow sit on it.
okay.
So
Did
in
you
the
hear that,
future,
Shane?
you know, just, if you know you're gonna sit on it, plan on redisturbing, roughing the ground, and then put your seed on in the fall.
In the fall?
A dozer or a blanket harrow or something to redisturb it, because if you put that on now, you've got a small mineral crust, very little of your seed will actually establish, even with good moisture.
Okay, and we're probably not gonna have good moisture.
So now, I mean, it's not a horrible time, but it's better, but to get that seed in, you're gonna have to rough it up. If not, it's just gonna sit on top, it'll oxidize, or the birds will eat it all.
Is that something the contractors have to do?
Yeah, they know about it.
I think we ought to suggest they look into hydro seeding.
Very effective, costs more, but if it's built into their as one
But
part
then
of
they'll
the
have
project.
left on their contract, right? To, what's left? Okay. Shane, are you amenable to that?
yeah, well, with, that's all good wisdom. I would just say to put some organization to it.
Right.
Brandon
Right.
would be responsible for coming up with a project timeline for the rest of the season.
Right.
And he can just bounce back and forth with me on putting that together, and then we can come back to the board and say, okay, here's how we're gonna do it, and if we could just have that ready for next month, then we'd stay on track for whatever, because things always take longer, we gotta find the guy.
Yeah, we'll get the plan in place. Right?
Sounds good.
Okay, and then we'll see if things, gosh.
We need to coordinate it with the contractor.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we'll have to coordinate it, but like you said, they're aware of it. Are they both aware of it?
Yep.
Okay.
And Rollins, they've done a lot to our roads just for that rehabilitation, brought in a bunch of rock. Pesher obviously hasn't done anything. They're the ones that are responsible for all of it.
Okay. I talked to Nate the other day too, and I told him he better get in here and get this stuff done now.
He, coming up next week as far as I heard, so.
Good, maybe, okay, good. I said, we've got a limited amount of time here and things, we gotta get this funding taken care of and see what there is and get it thing. He said, okay, we'll get right on it. So, well, that's good. When's he coming?
Next week, he said,
Let me know.
and then,
Yeah, Rollins, they're just waiting on our save to get down in that hole.
Sure.
I mean, we pushed it out twice so far, it's just still
Okay.
a mess, but.
Let me know. I might have to come back up here to trade out some stuff from the cabin to home.
Yeah.
Okay? Let me know what day I'd like to come.
Okay.
Okay? All
I
right.
have a problem with the, funding from the Division of Drinking Water. We sent in a request at the end of January, and we haven't been funded yet on it. And we've
Really?
contacted them several times, both, Kyler Rose from Sunrise and myself. They're not getting us the money.
And is that 5 counties?
No, this is Division of Drinking
Oh,
Water.
okay. Down in Cedar City? In Cedar?
They did the money for the assessment area project.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know anybody we can contact, Leo, that we can push a little bit?
I don't know. So,
Where's their office?
As far as I know, it's in Salt
I
Lake.
don't know, it's already,
Give me the address. Okay. Okay.
just a regular thing, we go on.
I know, I can go up there and say, hey, here it is, what's wrong? You know, I
They
go,
approve the
the
funding.
best thing to do is knock on their door and say, here, we're hung out to dry here, and you're supposed to have this done, what?
Yeah.
Be glad to do it. You want to go? Sure. Okay.
We'll look it up.
Okay, do,
Yeah.
because that's important. said. No money, no go, huh?
Well, Rollins has been waiting these 3 months for their payment.
Have they from them, from the drinking water?
Yeah, well, we can't pay Rollins till we get the money.
Sure. Okay. All right. I'm finished. Overview of operations. Brandon Durbridge.
Water system, our tanks are full, been full, no leaks, no nothing that we've had all winter, so it's running pretty good. Our flow right now, I don't have the numbers with me, Brandon had them, but he would give them to me. They're overflowing everything. All the meters are spinning 1,000 miles an hour, really good, so.
Good.
As far as roads, I think they're about, I mean, we've been working on some of them. We broke our grader it was down for a week or two. We had me and Brandon were able to pin it back together, but
What happened?
the wheel that turned your blade,
The one with the blades on it?
yeah, a bunch of the gears busted off, or the bolts busted off, flipped our blade sideways, right under the grader like this.
Not cool.
We had to figure out how to spin it back around, get it matched back up with the gear that actually spins it,
Uh-huh.
and then run a bunch of new bolts and shims in, but
It's okay now?
we were able to do it. We used it a little bit, but the road's been so wet, we haven't been grading a lot. We did down that big steep hill that goes by Trent's house
Yeah.
a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Took a lot.
How are you doing for material? You got road anything?
We're coming down here to Brian Pender's rock quarry, and we're dump trucking it all up ourselves,
Yeah, he said it's quite a bit less.
quite a bit less. So,
Okay, good. So you're just getting it on an as-needed basis?
as needed basis, we got a little pile still, but we need some big rock. We're all that ran off the hill right there, we got them trenches that
Yeah.
are back into the road.
And
We fill all that in.
then check me if I'm wrong or right, this is the time to do it, just after the snow melts,
Yep.
and there's still some moisture, so.
A little bit of moisture, but not much.
So you gotta get into it. In the next 2 or 3 weeks, you'll
Yep.
probably be doing stuff. Okay.
We'll start grading real good next week and getting all material, but the equipment status, we changed the batteries on that newer loader last week.
The one you got from?
No,
the
well, the old loader,
The-
but
the-
newer than the one that we,
I'm talking newer, old.
one Brandon trucks.
Yeah.
And then, so we changed the batteries, it threw a bunch of codes. Couldn't get them to clear on the DPF, and we had to call RDO. They gave us a bunch of stuff to do without them coming up. We did it all in work. So they actually came up yesterday or the day before, cleared all the codes with their computer, and then forced regened it, and it's fine now, but we're still gonna have to pay, it was like $860 just to drive there. But we tried to do it without.
I think you guys have saved us more than $860 since you came on the job.
But yeah, so that's all I got really.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll let you know when Rollins comes up, and we'll know for sure if Tusher comes up next week.
Has the Forest Service spring's gone out yet?
Oh yeah, it's running like
Oh,
hell.
it's running?
Yeah.
We're overflowing out of the tanks constantly.
Nice.
And that's another thing, you know, we're talking about Forest Service spring on that portion of the $4,000, I think we need to keep that in there. You know, because the Forest Service gave us approval, but I don't know, have they let some Forest Service people go in Beaver as well as every other place? No. But anyway.
They
They
did,
could have.
yeah, they did, I don't know how many of them
But
got
we need to go
called out.
back to wherever that, documentation was that said that they give us, they let us do it, and I think that Ron got that for
Yeah,
us.
Ron did.
Ron got it.
Shoot, okay.
I can call him, I'm not afraid of him.
Well, call him, yeah, see where it is.
I just want to.
He's left a lot faster than anybody expected.
Yeah, we know, but that's okay, I mean, we'll pick up the pieces, but, and that's the kind of stuff we're gonna need to have, you know, with you and Ron and figuring that out, because you guys have a better relationship with them than with we do. And that's something that I'll send Ron, he's gonna send you something too.
Yeah,
Okay.
CC me on that, so.
Okay.
And then maybe he can tell me where it's in amongst his 10,000 files.
Can you send a copy of that to me when you get what you answer from him?
Yes.
Okay,
I'll make
thanks. Because if we could get that spring developed, man, our problems would be over.
So are you gonna contact Ron, or is he gonna contact Ron?
I'll call him too.
You're both.
I'll let him make the first contact,
Okay.
and then if it, because Ron, right, sometimes he's hard to get a hold of, leave him a message. Me, and that, an office, he's kind of just you're on your own to a certain degree, so he doesn't respond super well, but he responds to outsiders. He's been in Florida almost the entire time.
I was just gonna say, good fishing and.
Has he got the
Oh,
place down there?
that's right.
He has a child that lives down there,
Oh.
and they bought a home and decided to flip it, so he's gone down to remodel. So, yeah, he's been doing some fishing, but a lot of construction work actually, remodeling homes there.
Okay.
But
I'll go.
Sherm is a lot colder than Florida.
You think?
Yeah, I don't know if he'll come back.
I'll send an email, say, you got the good life now, but for those of us that are hurting still, we need your help.
We've all noticed there's a real delay if we ask him a question. I think he's just trying to separate himself from work and all the questions, because he was
Is
more
his
part of
phone,
it.
his contact stuff still the same?
Yeah, it's all the same.
Okay.
Except for his email.
Yeah, I'll text him. Thank you for the update.
Can I just, I
Sure.
have a couple comments on the Forest Service spring.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert, so this is just, I'm just gonna share what I was thinking about, which I think is definitely worth exploring. So it's quite likely that the reason the Forest Service spring freezes is not so much the spring itself or the depth of the spring, but simply the line
Not deep
is
enough.
not 6 feet deep all the way there.
That's exactly
So
right.
we should be really careful getting excited about redeveloping in the spring unless we're willing to rerun all the line as well. And once you're doing that, it's like a massive project. So there may or may not, be another spring somewhere that would be that closer to the system, that would be easier to develop, if done the right way. So I just would put a little bit of a wet blanket on that Forest Service spring just based on how old it is. It might need a complete,
Yeah.
retrench and relay on top of the redevelopment.
And the biggest problem with that is getting access to it, and then you have to recover the road, so it doesn't have a road anymore, blah, blah, blah.
Let me ask about that spring.
It's like a mile too, I think, close to them. I don't know if it's that far, but it's pretty far.
At the spring location itself, is it fairly level, or is there a pretty good slope leading away from the spring right away?
It's fairly level until it drops low.
So, until, how long is that until? Is it 100 yards, 100 feet?
500 yards?
500 yards, so yeah, if you gotta rework that spring box and get it down deeper so it doesn't freeze that pipe, then that will be a lot of pipe replacement.
Yeah. Do we have any suggestions where there are any others?
I agree with you.
It's gradual like this.
So you may not have to.
No, but I mean, there are springs everywhere, so it's just a matter of, I don't think this is the highest, but I think if we get the triple chair spring, then that's huge.
Yeah.
That's the second spring we need in the winter.
Now, isn't that the one that we're still waiting on, that the tests haven't come back clear yet? On the triple chair?
I'm not, I think they were just waiting on, I don't know, I'm not in charge of that, but they still haven't hooked up the, control box for, like, we ended last fall, they had the spring all done and the pipes all in, but they couldn't hook up the control box to it because they didn't have power yet.
We don't have, the pumps aren't hooked up, and it's still,
How far away is power?
Lonnie can come anytime and do the power, but we never tested clean.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
So until we test clean, we gotta.
And then, that class we went to, we've got to test clean every month for 12 months before we can turn a brand new spring into our water system and go with it.
Okay. Well, we better start digging up what we can do. Maybe I won't call
Well, that's
out.
why, Nate has to have a sense of urgency on getting all the steps to get that spring done.
Yeah. Okay, well, I got after him pretty good a week or so ago, so. Anyway, yeah, and if it's coming up, I'll come up too. We'll put
We
that.
wanted to pull a sample, I think last week, and then we got thinking all the runoff and
Yeah.
kicking all that garbage into
Yeah.
there. And right now, it's right on good time to try to get a
Yeah.
clean sample out of there.
Well, let's get Nate on the ball and get him to put that stuff in, and we can have something to work with anyway.
I mean, the pump house, everything's there, it just needs power. I think they even piped it into the house.
Uh-huh.
They've just got a separation from where the spring and the house are gonna meet, so it's not going in it
gotta go up, he still has a lot to do.
A lot.
Okay, so let me know when that day is, and I'll come up and we'll talk
Yeah,
about
I'll get-
all these things.
Maybe I'll call Derek today too, and just make sure he's coming up
Okay, from Sunrise, from Ross.
Pressure.
Oh, is he the guy? No,
He's Nate's guy, Derek.
same guy? Yeah, have him come, I'd like to meet him.
Would you?
You bet.
I will.
Okay.
I'm not even telling you coming, I'll just say.
Yeah, that'll work. Okay. All right. So, we are to fire department.
So the only thing that I've been told that they're working on is checking the pressure in the hydrants.
Mhm.
That they'll be doing
And
next
that will
month,
be,
so.
talked to Mark yesterday, he's leaving for all of May, so that'll be when he comes back first June, so.
That was the only thing that was on their agenda regarding fire, was
Well, they get
checking the
done in May
pressure.
before the real fire season, that would help us a lot. One thing I'm gonna interject here too, I've been doing a lot of crap. I came to a meeting, on a Sunday night, they had here about fire insurance, were you there?
No,
Okay.
I'm
And
fairly familiar with some.
And one thing, you know, I've chastised, said things about George a lot of times, but he did something that was really remarkable. There is no money available like there was before to mitigate and clear the forest in our space of time. Well, George was able to procure money 2 years ago, and they're gonna do a lot of mitigation down there at the bottom where, what's it called? Hippie Boulevard? What do you call it?
Hippie Holler?
Yeah, Hippie Hollow and Dreadlock Drive, down at the bottom.
Lead down to the bottom of the.
Yes. Now with that big fire break we've got with the Forest Service coming up the road, if we get that portion down there cleared off, we're gonna be pretty safe from anything that comes in from the west. And 9 times out of 10, that's when the way the wind blows.
You know, so some of the discussion, and we haven't been involved with it, but hearing from Cali and, you know,
Yeah.
in the village and all that, what a lot of the insurance companies are claiming, well, rumor mill, is that, the mitigation that's been done by George as well as the Forest Service isn't really impacting
Yeah.
the fees and stuff, you
Yeah.
know? And I'm just speculating. I'm wondering if maybe some of this stuff is spurred on from California fires,
It is.
insurance companies trying to.
That's exactly what it is. They're putting us in a high fire zone,
Yeah.
and they don't care what we did before to get
Exactly.
all of our ISO ratings and that sort of thing.
Because we actually have a great ISO rating. I mean, we had what?
They said it doesn't
before,
matter.
And we're at a 5, and they don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. And the hard part about it is, I have fire insurance on my place, but you people in the condos and stuff are the ones they don't want to insure. Because they got so many of you in a small constituency that that's an issue for them. And I just got lucky. Before the fires came, we pay our fire insurance in January. But to give you an idea, the fire insurance went from $1,200 last year to $2,700 this year.
I think with the village, some of those condos, I mean, hundreds of percent higher
Oh, yeah. Oh,
We
yeah.
went from 16,000
to 100 and something thousand.
to
What's that?
160,000.
Shane?
Yeah.
10 times.
10 times, yeah. It's ridiculous. And all they're doing is trying to make up their losses from what they had going on down in California.
Which is being supplemented by the federal government.
Yeah, so, but anyway, that's an update on the insurance thing, and Callie's doing a great job. She's working on it, and we're trying to find out all the things, and in conjunction with George and what we can do. I'm in the middle of that thing too, but we need to do that, because it's just ridiculous. I mean, and then to tack that onto what the county charges in taxes doubled 2 years ago, something like that, I don't know what it was. It's getting dang expensive up here. But it's all for protection of some sort, they say. Anyway. I'm done.
Water. Leo?
Leo, water.
I don't have anything new on water, but I'm working on some stuff that I hope is gonna get us to the finish line.
The things we talked about last time, good, yeah, it's a good thing. He's trying to get us out of that, store and release stuff. And he's got a pretty good plan, get that out of the way. Okay? Shane, you're closed. Right?
Yeah.
How did it go? Did it go okay?
It was great. No, it was really good.
Good.
I think it was our best season ever.
Really?
The year before we were down, the
came incognito to see how much business they were really losing.
I don't know, I can't speak to what's in their head, but, it was funny for the team and I to experience that.
It's only business, right?
I guess you guys need to go on a field trip up there, huh?
Nah.
We know, we go everywhere.
Oh, you already did it.
We know what everyone's doing. Yeah, so I don't have much of an update. We're starting construction now, on some of the homes, so the snow has melted off quite early this year.
Yeah.
There wasn't that much of it. We got 200 inches so far, so that's 350 is the true average, so that, we're down that, but in terms of the ski season, it fell in such a way that it didn't impact us at all. We had pretty much everything open all year, and then March was a bumper month. And we're taking it easy this year. We're launching some new products, taking more advantage of the Forest Service permits that we have. We're gonna start doing guided hikes on Saturday. We'll go to Top Mount High, basically some of the signature hikes that are available out there. We'll organize them, for any guest, but we're really trying to cater to the lodging guests that we have come up.
Sure.
The lodge will be open June through August, the first weekend in June, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The general store will continue to expand its offerings, and we always, we love advice and feedback, so if there's things that we think we should carry, we want that to be a benefit to everybody, to save trips back down to Beaver. And no new projects. I turned 50 at the end of last year, so I'm just finishing up Polestar, and I've got some trips planned this summer, so with the family. So I'm just trying to finish what I've got, and take the rest of the year off.
But you'll be available on Saturday.
Stay for long.
You'll be available on satellite then, right?
Say that again?
You'll be available on satellite all summer long?
I'll be available. June, the only one I won't be at is June.
Okay.
And then we don't have the one in July.
Correct. Good. Glad you had a good year. Wondered.
Thank you.
Yeah. General discussion, we did that. Other business, old business, new business?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Whatever happened, when you talk about satellite, whatever happened to the broadband or the fiber up there?
We're not doing it. We can't afford it. There's no way. And the issue is that Beaver, if Beaver doesn't have it, we're not gonna get it. But I did get another update from them that they said possibly it could be, no charge. In about 2 years, there's a program coming up, and there are some entities that want to take it over, okay? And that would take the responsibility off of us, but it's called BEAD, is who you go through. And made several meetings up there, but I had a gentleman from Sunrise with me, and we just decided there's no way, because we'd have had to boot the cost for bringing the cable, bringing it all the way up the mountain. And it's just not feasible for us to do that at this point.
No.
And if this other thing comes around, go ahead.
Sorry, when you're done, I have some information on this.
Okay, go ahead, I'm done.
So that, I don't remember the kind of origin of how we, the service district, were looking at a grant for fiber. But I can tell you that I'm in contact regularly with South Central Communications, the underlying provider of our fiber. And they, in the first round, and it didn't get awarded, this has been an ongoing program through the Inflation Reduction Act back under the Biden administration to bring broadband to all these communities. There is still funding for that. And whatever round that people were going through before, I'm not an expert, so I don't know exactly what happened, but it didn't work. So, but South Central has reapplied for the second round as well, and they do want to bring fiber up to the resort, in particular to the West Village and the areas that don't already have it.
Right.
The probability of it happening, I would say, is less than 50%, but it's probably close to 50%, so it's certainly possible. And I think it would involve very little cost at all to the subscriber. So if it happens, it'd be great. But it's not done, and we don't have to be getting our own. Like, we don't even need a horse in that race, because we already do, through South Central.
Yeah, and that's the thing that we were just, when we went to that meeting up there were all kinds of entities. There were some little guys from Sanpete County that were gonna take over, and there were some guys from all over the place, and I just said, we decided that, no, we're not gonna do it. We're not comfortable with what's happening, and we had hoped the same thing, that Southwest would take over, because that was the issue, because if I'm not mistaken, Southwest doesn't even have it from Cedar City to Beaver yet, do they?
Beaver has great fiber, but I don't think Beaver does.
I don't know.
Yeah, they don't. I know that, no, they don't, that was the thing that kicked us out of it.
Washington doesn't even have it, which is weird, I think.
So, anyway, yeah, I'm in concurrence, I know what's going on there, Shane, and I think that's what we ought to do too, is wait till that comes to fruition and change, because that meeting we had up there with the state was just, I'm sorry, it was a cluster. They were trying to explain things, they couldn't explain them, questions were asked, so we just decided to opt out of it.
I have one question, Shane, cell service up on the mountain, what service is up there? I know I think T-Mobile was one that was coming in, Verizon, maybe, can you, expound on that?
I believe, and I don't have AT&T, but I think a lot of my guys do, and if anyone, can corroborate or, correct what I'm about to say, please do, but I think AT&T works as well as it would anywhere else. They are the only ones operational on the new tower. T-Mobile and Verizon, I reported on this a while ago, so T-Mobile and Verizon are ready to join. In fact, it was their efforts that discovered the reason that they haven't joined yet, which is, when you build a cell tower, and I did not build this cell tower, the Utah 911 service did, and they gave it to me, that was the deal, it was their whole idea. You're supposed to get what's called a NEPA report, which is like a Native American impact, like, will the cell tower have an impact on, like, Native American culture or something like that? And there's a report, a federal report that you have to do, and the 911 service didn't do it. So the big guys won't sign up. I mean, AT&T, I think, came in, they're like the 911 service anyway, so I think they just kind of, like, got grandfathered in, but, you won't do it until the NEPA report is done, and the NEPA report is ongoing. In fact, last week I asked for an update on it, and I got an update, and the initial report was good. There's no reason to believe there's not, but they actually have to come and do, like, spot excavation around the area to see if they find arrowheads and such.
Oh, you're kidding me?
So, I think there's a pretty high likelihood that by the end of 2025, that the cell phone tower will be fully operational with AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon.
Yeah, good.
Thank you, Shane.
Hopefully the current regime will change a lot of that crap.
I still let my cell phone work a little
Anyway,
bit.
yeah, all right, thanks, Shane. Anything else?
Yes,
Go ahead.
Nothing else.
Just one question, I noticed, when we came up, this winter, that the hydrants that they put in, the most recent ones.
The ones by you?
Yeah, specifically down there on the highway, right off the 153 and Sunset. It seemed like it was a little bit low, I haven't paid a whole lot of attention, but, is that the height they're gonna be?
So, it
Is there
depends
any
on when
problem
you've seen
with
it, because we've raised them.
Okay,
They used to be really far down in the ground, and then they came back and they raised, I wanna say 3 of them we've raised. So, the height they are now is the height they're gonna be.
how did it work with, snow removal around there, like
Oh,
I said,
they
specifically at
actually stayed
Sunset?
pretty clear. We
They-
hardly ever had to clean those ones
Okay.
out on the highway.
I noticed at one time they seemed like they were kinda low.
Yeah, they were right down to the dirt.
Was that Rollins that changed it?
Yeah.
I
Well,
remember.
they put them in just because they didn't have a high enough
I
riser.
Yeah.
We came in and
Okay.
raised them all up.
Okay. Thanks for the audience being here today. Guess we're time for the, special.
Steve?
What?
Every once in a while I get an email from the state auditor's office, encouraging all board members to
Oh, yeah.
take the
Oh, it's time for
Uh-oh.
a yearly
Something
thing
to
again.
do that.
the Open and Public Meetings Act training.
Yeah, I've got an email from them, but how do I get into that? I forgot how to get in. Is
I
there a-
went
do I have a
on and
password?
took the training, it only takes 20 minutes or less.
Is there a password,
I
is there, from, to get in?
Did you have to put a password in? I don't think so. I think you just go in.
Can you send us a link or
See,
something?
yeah,
Yeah.
that link.
That'd be
again. I
great.
think
Yeah,
that's.
I'll get a link for you.
I think it's probably happy to do that too.
Yeah, it wasn't that hard.
No, just takes a few minutes out of your day, though.
I probably have it memorized, yeah.
Okay.
like 2 weeks ago.
That's been sitting in my inbox for 2 months.
So are we ready?
Move.
A motion. A motion to adjourn.